Welcome. Thank you all for making a deliberate choice this morning to be here. We feel that your participation here today will have a very positive impact on your life. My name is Philip Sos, and I'm the chair of the Men of Character Committee, which is part of the Minnetonka Football Touchdown Club, which is the supporting organization for Minnetonka High School football program. The Mentoring Talk series is one of the ways that the Men of Character Committee is providing opportunity for you young men and you fathers of the young men to gain exposure to men of character from our community and hear their life stories, whether through adversity or hardship or success, to give you something to think about, talk about, maybe incorporate into your own life if you hear something that sounds good or right for you. And we're really excited today because we have a man of character from our own community, Mr. Jake Vanada. Let me just read a little bit about Jake for you. With more than 20 years of experience reaching and impacting students, families, and communities in the Twin City area, Jake Vanada brings a unique, refreshing, and sometimes humorous approach to communication. With a strong passion to impact this generation, Jake has led numerous successful ministries, spoken at conferences, assemblies, retreats, and camps all over the United States. He has an engaging, disarming way of bringing truth to both students and adults. In 2007, Jake came on staff with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Since that time, he has worked hard to build and develop strong local chapters of FCA at schools in the West Metro area of the Twin Cities. Jake graduated from college in 1996 with a double major in youth ministry and in Bible. He successfully completed Chuck Polson's Centurion program in 2011. And is among a select few certified centurions in Minnesota. He has been married for 16 years to his wife, Christy, has 2 kids. Welcome. Thank you all for making a deliberate choice this morning to be here. We feel that your participation here today will have a very positive impact on your life. My name is Philip Sos, and I'm the chair of the Men of Character Committee, which is part of the Minnetonka Football Touchdown Club, which is the supporting organization for Minnetonka High School football program. The Mentoring Talk series is one of the ways that the Men of Character Committee is providing opportunity for you young men and you fathers of the young men to gain exposure to men of character from our community and hear their life stories, whether through adversity or hardship or success, to give you something to think about, talk about, maybe incorporate into your own life if you hear something that sounds good or right for you. And we're really excited today because we have a man of character from our own community, Mr. Jake Vanada. Let me just read a little bit about Jake for you. With more than 20 years of experience reaching and impacting students, families, and communities in the Twin City area, Jake Vanada brings a unique, refreshing, and sometimes humorous approach to communication. With a strong passion to impact this generation, Jake has led numerous successful ministries, spoken at conferences, assemblies, retreats, and camps all over the United States. He has an engaging, disarming way of bringing truth to both students and adults. In 2007, Jake came on staff with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Since that time, he has worked hard to build and develop strong local chapters of FCA at schools in the West Metro area of the Twin Cities. Jake graduated from college in 1996 with a double major in youth ministry and in Bible. He successfully completed Chuck Colson's Centurion program in 2011 and is among a select few certified centurions in Minnesota. He has been married for 16 years to his wife, Christy, has 2 kids, ages 12 and 14. He lives in Albertville, Minnesota. Jake is a huge fan of sports, especially hockey and football. He's passionate about snowmobiling, mountain biking, water skiing, and going fast in anything with an engine. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jake Vanada. Please give him a warm Minnetonka football.
There you go. Well, my name is Jake, and thanks for having me today. I am very, very excited to be here. Humbled, really, that I was asked to come and speak, so it's really a treat to be here today and share with you. A couple things about me. Like was said, there's a lot of things I get passionate about and excited about. I love engines, I love motorsports, I love sports. I'm a fan of sport. I'm one of those has-been, wannabe, used-to-be athletes. And I recognize a few of you that are part of that club. That would be the older folks in the room that, you talk about the great days back when you used to be able to run fast and you used to be able to dunk. Or, man, when I was in high school, I could almost touch the rim, and now you kind of have the credit card jump where you barely can get up in the air to get a credit card under your feet. So, anyway, I've been doing this, I can't believe it, like 20 years. And a lot of times working at churches and now on staff at FCA. And so today I'm really excited to bring what I think are some cool principles to you and maybe drop some knowledge on some of the young Padawans in the room, the younger under 18 crowd, but also challenge those of us that are a little bit more seasoned with some principles from some people way smarter than me and some things that I've been buying into as I try to increase who I am as a man and who I am with my own character. And so that's really the goal of today. To start out, I need a couple volunteers. I need someone who would consider themselves to be mucho strong and muscular. Someone who's kind of, if you came up here, you would look at me and you would honestly say, I could take you. Because men do that, right? You see someone, you just meet them for the first time. I don't care how old you are, how in shape, how out of shape you are. You look them, you size them up and down, and you go, I could probably take them. And then your wife's like, oh my gosh, why is it always about that? Or your dad. Anyway, so I need to volunteer someone who would consider themselves to be a strapping young lad of strength. Who would that be? Someone that would, or coach, just pick one. I need just 2 people to illustrate something up here. Josh? Who's Josh? There we go. All right, so now I need someone who someday is going, this is going to be a harder one to recruit for, but I'm just going to grab one right here. What's your name? Danny? Come on up here, Danny. All right, so we're going to illustrate this first point of diligence, and you got some notes there if you want to take notes. You can just stand over here and stand over there. Watch out for that. It's going to get exciting in here in just a little bit. But I want to look at this idea of diligence for a second, and then these guys are going to help us define this term, because this term of diligence we're going to use this morning as a backdrop for what I think are the key principles to being or becoming a man, which is different than the culture that we live in. Our culture speaks to us a value system, and we unknowingly buy into it or not, but unless you intentionally engage your mind and your heart and your thoughts in how to become a man the right way, I don't think you will end up the man that you're supposed to be, that you were created to be. And so, with that said, I want to illustrate this point of diligence. You can see it on your deal there. Learnable skill. Diligence can be learned. There is hope. Combines creative persistence, smart working effort, rightly planned, rightly performed, in a timely, efficient, effective manner to attain a result that is pure and of the highest quality and of excellence. Diligence, men, is very, very rare. Some have said that maybe 1 in 1,000 is truly diligent. Think about that, if that's true. 1 in 1,000. Are you kidding me here? In this school, how many go to school? 3,200? About 3,000? Okay, so that means there's 3 diligent students at Minnetonka High School. Truly diligent. Diligence does not happen by accident. Diligence, you don't just wake up and I'm diligent. You have to put effort into this skill, because it's a learned skill. It's not something you're born with. You don't wake up, come out of mom's womb, and go, hey, I think I'm going to be diligent. It's something you have to learn. It's a skill that requires much effort, because all of us were born with, I want instant success and gratification, and I will take the path of least resistance to get there. I want instant success. I do. I want it instant. I want $1 million tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. And I want the path of least resistance. I don't, at the end of the day, particularly want to work really hard. I'm gonna, because I've learned some of this stuff with diligence. So I want to illustrate this because, well, first of all, we got to meet our contestants up here. Tell me your name.
Josh.
Josh. What year are you?
I'm going to be a senior. Junior this year.
Okay, you're a junior. Yeah. Did you know there's still a few months left of school?
Yes.
I mean, you can't check out yet. Apparently the junior year is important for college, so you actually have to be diligent with your studies, Josh. Okay, you try. That's good. Effort is good. So, Josh, let's say you and I are lifting in the weight room. Who do you think is going to throw up more weight on, let's say, squats and bench press? Me or you?
Me.
All right, that's a good answer, Josh. All right, humble. I love it. All right, so, Josh, I will break you in half. All right, so, what's your name?
Danny.
Danny, and Danny, what year are you?
Freshman.
You're a freshman, fantastic. Now, Danny, do you know that you have like 5 months left of school?
Yes.
Did you know Josh didn't know that till this morning? Didn't know, yeah, okay, so, now Danny, let's say that you and I go over to the wrestling room, and we get all fired up, jacked up, we slam a few monsters, and we go at it. Who's going to win?
You.
All right, I like this guy. All right, so we're going to illustrate diligence here, okay? We're going to illustrate diligence. We're going to give Danny the chainsaw. There's a little oil in the bottom. Okay, so just hang on to that. Just grab it like you're a lumberjack, born into a long line of lumberjackness. And we're going to give Josh a hammer, okay? So this is what I want to illustrate with the point of diligence. Now, Josh, because of his age and maybe he's thrown weights around a little bit more, he's a little bit bigger and stronger than Danny is now. In a few years, Danny would crush you, Josh. But now, so hold your hammer out. That's why I brought it, not so you can hide it. Okay, so let's say that we had, and I thought of doing this today, but I didn't want to get kicked out of the school, but a couple like 6x6 timbers. The ones that you build decks out of, the green sheet ones. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? 6x6 timber, the stuff, the big old thick deck posts. Now, Josh is a pretty strong guy, and he has a hammer, and there's a hammer claw on there, which is a pretty vicious part of the hammer. Now, Josh, let's say you turn that hammer around and start just wailing on a 6x6 timber with ferocious strength and amazing RPM of hammer motion. How long do you think it would take till you could start to maybe get it to the point where you could get through that timber?
Half hour.
Half hour. Okay, man, I wish we had one here. I would bet money it would take longer than a half hour, and I would bet money he'd probably injure some sort of part of his shoulder wailing on it because of his youthful exuberance. And then, right over here, we got Danny, and Danny just fires up the old Polson 2550 and blasts right through it. Now, which one is using more diligence? Right, Alex? Yeah, thank you. No, it's kind of rhetorical, but Alex is like, well, he is. My point with this, guys, is who can work harder, who's stronger? Who has more? We can find the strongest guy in this room, follow me? And then we could give him the hammer and say, go at it. But according to this definition, they would not be the most diligent. The most diligent, we're going to learn this in just a second, has a completely different concept. So really all you do is come up, stand, and hold a chainsaw today. So how did your day start today? I held a chainsaw. That's what you should say the rest of the day. When you see people, you can say it was a Paulson 2250. It was pretty awesome, and everyone was looking at me, and I felt rather odd. All right, so easy. Careful, Tiger. All right, very good. Thank you. Have a seat. Very good. Good job with the hammer. That was awesome. You were very impressive. Very impressive. So my point is this. I've been reading a book recently because people that are really successful, I want to know what they do. People that make a ton of money, I want to know about them. I want to learn about them. I want to grab any sort of principles that they can teach me. I've been a pastor. A lot of things I look at are spiritual. And I want to say that whether you buy into that stuff or not, the stuff I'm going to say today can and will apply to you in a profound way. And the person that I've been reading about is this guy Solomon. I've been reading this book. I highly recommend it. It's by Stephen Scott. It's called The Richest Man Who Ever Lived, because Solomon was, at the time of kings in the ancient world, was the wealthiest guy on the planet. This guy had bank. This guy had like 22-inch spinners on his chariots. You know what I'm saying? He had like 75-inch stone walls to ride on. I don't know, but he was loaded with serious bank. Solomon's gold deposits, they've estimated, would be in the hundreds of billions of dollars in today's time. Okay, that's a lot of money. Solomon was the wisest guy on the planet during this time. And so there's principles that he taught, and I've been just fascinated by them because if you apply them, you'll be successful. If you apply them, you'll be successful. And one of the things he was very, very good at doing was being diligent. It was a learned skill, even for Solomon. It's as rare as a 10-carat diamond. It doesn't happen by accident. But whether you're John D. Rockefeller or Walt Disney or Oprah Winfrey or Coach Nelson, I don't know why he was right after Oprah Winfrey. That was kind of a bad transition. I don't know for her or for him. But anyway, the point that I'm making is the people that we see in our culture, even in recent history, Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin, people that we would esteem highly in history, had diligence. Fact, if you apply this skill to any area of your life, you will be successful. You apply it to athletics, you will be incredibly successful. You apply it to business, you'll be successful. You apply it to your marriage or to your to a relationship, to your fathering, to your studies here at school, to your workout regimen in the off season. If you apply this skill, I guarantee you, in fact, I 100% USDA certify, guarantee you, you will be successful if you learn and apply the skill of diligence, as it's defined here on this page. So that's the backdrop, that's the kind of the foundation of what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what it means to be a man, and how can we start to become a man, and what does our culture say about being a man. And so I want to just jump right into this. There's 4 kind of key things that I think are super important, and I hope for you it can be an encouragement, and then I hope it can be a challenge, that you will increase that. What does our culture say? I think so many times the culture that I have been working with for 20 years says this: to be a man can be the passage into manhood can sometimes be defined as, well, when I drank my first beer, or when I got my driver's license, or maybe when I was with the first girl for the first time and lost my virginity. The culture that we live in doesn't do a good job, I don't think. I've been working in this culture with young men and young women and for 20 years. And if we leave it just to the culture, fathers, our boys aren't going to get a definition of a man that I think I for certainly would not be proud of. And so, let's define a man. What does it mean to be a man? What does it take to be a man? And if the world defines it one way, can we define it differently? So there's 4 things that are on here I just want to talk about in your notes today. The first one is, to be a man, a real man resists passivity, resists being passive. A real man accepts responsibility, a real man leads courageously, and a real man expects a greater reward. Resist passivity. Being passive. I think a real man avoids social, moral, spiritual, and physical passivity. Being passive. Allowing, what is it? In the physical world, we understand this. Being passive is, I picture that scene in Remember the Titans, where they're playing it at night, they're practicing under the lights. Anyone seen the movie Remember the Titans? A pretty awesome football movie. Okay, so they're playing, they're under the lights, and the guy doesn't block. Do you remember that? He lets the guy go right by him. He kind of just stands up. The guy goes right through, and then they have this big encounter of holding him accountable to what he's supposed to do. He's passive. He doesn't physically engage. We understand this concept physically very well. because we're aggressive as males. All of us are. That's how we were made. We get shot up with this drug called testosterone, which is legal and does show up in tests. Did you hear this Ray Lewis thing, this mouth spray? I was listening to the radio this morning. I'm like, are you kidding me? It just doesn't end. Thanks, Lance Armstrong. Anyway, so there's this idea that this aggressiveness, and we get it physically. Dads, you get up here and I start pushing you around, pretty soon you'll be like, it's on. And then all of a sudden there'll be a brawl right here. Because there's this, we understand that. But I want to talk about it morally, socially, and even spiritually. Not being passive. Father's Day a couple years ago, we're on a camp out. Me and my family with some friends, we're in a camp out, we're in this campground. I discovered that you really need to make sure you pick the right campground after this experience. I could spend the next half hour detailing the most crazy, insane camping experience you could ever imagine. It's Father's Day 2 years ago, we're up north on the lake. My family's there, my 2 kids, and some friends of ours with their 2 kids. And I'm awakened in the morning by my tent being unzipped, and our friend's, her name was Jen, she goes, Jake, you need to come out here, Justin needs your help. I'm like, this is a little odd. What had preceded the night before was a bonfire with a lot of profanity, and some guys you need to calm down, and a lot of like, so everyone was kind of tense. My daughter went to bed crying because she thought there was going to be it was just one of those kind of like, this is camp, you paid money for this? One of those experiences? Anyway, so I get this thing, I get up and I go out there and I'm like, what's going on? Justin's a police officer, so I felt safe because he's always packing heat. So I was like, well, I'm clearly unusually muscular, he has a gun, so we're in good shape. So anyway, so we go, I go out there and the people next to us, it was a young couple, we hear this dude beating up his girlfriend, his wife, his fiance, I don't know who it was. They were camping in a tent, pull up with a car, small little tent. They were kind of quiet the night before. We said hello. And I don't know if you've ever heard the sound of fist thumping flesh, like the thud sound. But that's what we're hearing. And there's 2 things you can do at that moment as a man. You can be passive and go, well, stinks to be heard. Or you can do what Justin did. Like, not on my watch. You don't beat up a lady. That's wrong. Any day of the week. I don't care what she did. So he starts hollering at this guy. He's like, Jake, go get the handcuffs out of my truck. Because, you know, most people have handcuffs in their truck. I mean, I do. I'm like, oh, okay. And oh, there they were, right in the door, you know. So I grab those. He goes, stand behind me. I'm like, yes, sir. You know. And he's hollering at this guy. And here's what he says. Get out of the tent right now, or I'm coming out to get you. Or I'm coming in to get you. And you got 5 seconds. And this guy, and there's profanity, it's just icky. I'm just like, oh, happy Father's Day. So the guy comes out of the tent, and we wait till the cops show up. And it was just a horrible, horrible deal. It's 4 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it was. It took 45 minutes for the guy from Duluth to drive there anyway. But it just made me think, you know, as a man, we have a responsibility to stand up for what's right and to not be passive. A couple years ago, I was sitting in a church that I was working at as a youth pastor, and there's 600-700 people in the worship center, sanctuary, whatever you call it, and pastor's speaking. Guy gets up, comes up, starts rushing the stage, out of control, saying some profanity, some incoherent stuff in the middle of the sermon or the message. Guy starts coming up. What do you do then? Like if a dude walked in here and wanted to, you know, come and tackle me, would anyone stand? No, you'd be like, he can handle himself. He's a brag. He's unusually muscular. See what he's got. But so this guy's coming up, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm on staff. I'm one of the leaders of this church where I'm working at. What do I do? But you know, it was that frozen moment of this is awkward. You know, I'm sitting near the front, and you're just kind of frozen. This guy's walking towards our senior pastor. Well, again, an off-duty police officer stands up. All of a sudden, they're tackled to the ground. There's this professional wrestler there. He gets in the mix. He's kind of strong. Anyway, and then they haul him out, and then the guy, I don't know how you carry out with your sermon after that. But it just made me think, why is it that some people sit and watch? Why is it that off-duty police officers sit? Because they've been trained that you can't be passive. You can't sit by and watch evil happen, or slop happen, or people make dumb decisions, or men hurt women. You cannot sit by and be passive. And I want to challenge you, young men and fathers in here, that you resist passivity and you lean into it. Socially, morally, and spiritually. We don't have a lot of time. I'm going to run through these other ones quickly. Accepts responsibility. We're done at 7:45, right, Coach? 7:50? Sweet. In that case, I got this. One time I was on a vacation. No, I'm just kidding. Accepts responsibility. I was growing up with a guy that he and his brother were really good athletes. His brother's name was Jason. His name was Jamie. Jason got a full-ride scholarship to play D1 football at Indiana University. He was a lineman. He was a stud. He was like a beast. I mean, I could probably take him, but he was a beast. Full-ride scholarship. A couple years later, I hear that he's lost his scholarship and gotten kicked out of school. His brother, Jamie, who I graduated with, now plays for the Twins. Right now, like this year, Jamie Carroll, number 8. How come they're two brothers in the same family? One, both athletically gifted, kind of made me mad. Like, what about the rest of us? Because we have a little bit of athletic talent. It's all housed in their family, thanks to very little. Anyway, how come one fumbled and failed and the other one was super successful? I think because of this one, that they accepted responsibility. The 3 things that come up with this that I want to just challenge you with. Number 1 is a will to obey. 2 is a work to do. And 3 is a woman to love. As a man, we have in us this will to obey. And some of us fight this because it's like, you tell me what to do and I'll tell you where you can go, because I'm kind of a maverick and I kind of lead. I do what I want. I'm a man. Well, I think to be a man means you learn how to fall underneath the authority in your life. Whether it's your coach, whether it's your father, whether it's your boss, whether it's your parole officer. That's if you fumbled the ball, little parole officer. But the point is, obey, will to obey. That's not easy for some of us. I just ran over the chainsaw. That's not easy for some of us. A will to obey, a work to do, something to do in our lives that we were given a work to do, and we do that. We accept that responsibility. And a woman to love, which I like that this is under accept responsibility, because it is a huge responsibility to love a lady in the right way and to honor her in the right way. And I believe it takes a man to love a lady. And I think any boy can get with a lady relationally, but it takes a man to love a lady in the right way. Man, if you're young men, high school, if you're going out with a girl, I just want to say this, you better be honoring her in her body, in her mind, and her spirit, and leave her better than you found her. Because if you don't, and I find out about it, I will sever your Achilles tendon and jack you right in the sternoclavicular mastoid muscle, which is right here. I'm serious. Do not dishonor the ladies. Husbands, love your wives. It's the best gift you can give your sons, is to love your wife and honor your wife and lift and build her up. That's a huge responsibility. That's a whole nother talk. But I think to be a man, you accept responsibility. Number 3 is lead courageously. We were created to lead, not passively, but courageously. Courage means you look at fear and you look at danger and you look at pain and go, I can handle this. And why is it with athletics we get this? Courage in athletics means if it hurts, we must be doing something right. And we're going to lean into it because no pain, no gain. We get this with our sport, especially football. It's a violent sport. It takes a ton of strength, a ton of working out, a ton of exercising the exact things over and over and over, which sometimes painful. Like, I get it, coach. No, we don't. We're going to do it 10 more times. You know what I mean? It's like you get it physically. We understand courage. But I'm talking about courage morally, courage ethically, courage in relationships, where you, even though it hurts, you know you've got to lead with courage. And you take the lead because you're not passive, because it's your responsibility. See where this is going? I hope for you it motivates you to say, that's what I want to be. And then the last one is, I just want to say this about courage. It takes courage to master your passions. It takes courage. Let's take the passion of speed, like driving fast or going fast. Is that easy to master? Is that like natural? Like, I love to go fast, but I'm just not gonna because it's not. For me, that's really difficult to master. That passion. Think about other passions. It takes courage to master your passion. You can't just let whatever passion you have rule your heart, or you will find yourselves making a lot of mistakes and having a ton of regrets in all kinds of areas. With alcohol, with relationships, or going down the wrong road sexually. Guys, we've got to master our passion, not let our passion master us if we're going to lead courageously. Last one is accepts a greater reward. Real men anticipate a greater reward. Like, this is bigger than us. I'm a part of a cause, and I want to be a part of something that's bigger than us. And again, we get this athletically. Football team, together we can do this. I do my job, I do it to the best of my ability, and we have a chance for success. And I expect us to win. I want us to win. I'm hopeful that we will be victorious. Athletically, we get this. I think one of the things it means to be a man is that you expect a greater reward. You're a part of a cause of manhood in this world that you were born into, and you expect that down the road you will have a reward for your hard efforts and your diligence to become a real man. What does it take to be a real man? I believe these 4 things. Where are you at in this? Let's say each one's worth 5 points. How many would you give yourself? Number 1, would you give yourself a 2? 0 is like you're horrible at it. You're just pathetic. 5 is you're a rock star stud. So passive. Are you passive? Or are you active? Do you lean into it? So you have a top score of 20. What would you give yourself? That's your man quotient. Right? It's like your CI rating, cylinder index. Somebody's cylinder index just went down. His coach was like 11 o'clock at night last night, milling around his neighbor's garage, grabbing me a chainsaw. So there's probably a police report on it already. What's your man quotient? 18, 12, 4? You're a 1 in all of these? Think about this. Talk about this. Fathers, ask your sons. Sons, ask your fathers. Dad, where are you at in this? I think if we start to become the men we were created to be, it will change our football team, it will change our school, it will change our homes, our marriages, our families, our communities, our churches, all the stuff that I think matters. The key relationships, I believe, start with real men stepping up and being who they were created to be. And not sitting around being passive, waiting for someone else. Oh, mom's got this. Oh, she's got this. Oh, the girls on the leadership team of this thing that I'm a part of here at Minnetonka, they'll take care of that. Instead, say, no, I'm a man. And what it means to be a man is I lead courageously. And I'm going to step in there and do my best to make that the best. And I see wrong happening, I won't let it happen. Not on my watch am I going to let slop happen on my team, with my friends, in my family. No, I'm going to go, that's wrong, knock it off. Hey, we don't do that. I'm going to call out my brother. I'm going to call out a fellow worker. I'm going to call out someone at work and say, that's wrong. You're dumbing down manhood. Step it up. Or I will full body tackle you in the hallway right when we're done. Because again, physically we get it, right? Like, we can threaten that, and it makes sense because we're men, we understand it. Men and young men, pursue with diligence this path of becoming what I think is a real man. And use this definition. What's your man quotient? What score would you give yourself? This football program will go way up if you get good at these 4 things. This school, your homes will go up. It starts with men stepping up and saying, I'll lead. I'm a man. Not with arrogance, but with humility. And starting to serve and love the people around us in the way we were created to do. And in doing that, you'll change your school. Football players, you'll take the lead. All the other sports will look at the football players and the athletes and go, wow, and you will change this place. And some of the stuff the administrators, it drives them nuts, and Mr. Adney and Coach, and they'll be like, oh, why is this going on? It's like, well, not on my watch. Am I going to let that happen? Because I'm a man. Stop dumbing down manhood. Step it up and be the person you're created to be. Thanks so much for letting me come. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. And Coach, appreciate it a lot. Thanks.
Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Do we have any questions for Mr. Vanada? Because we do have a couple of minutes where we can maybe ask something really personal or whatever you'd like. He's right here and we can take advantage of that. If not, let's give him another round of applause for being here. Again, thank you for being here. Hopefully we'll see you in February at the next Mentoring Talk series. Have a great day. Thank you for being here, guys. Really appreciate it.